Is your 2-year-old not talking as much as you expected? Maybe you've Googled speech and language milestones late at night, compared them to the other kids at daycare or the child down the street, and now you're panicking that something's wrong. Don't worry, you're not alone. I'm Damien, a speech and language therapist with over 10 years experience working with toddlers and families. And in this video, I'll show you what's actually typical for a 2-year-old and 3 simple research-backed strategies you can start using right now to boost language skills at home. Now, before we begin, if you're worried about your child's speech or language, the best next step is to talk with a qualified speech and language therapist or your child's doctor. Early advice is always better than waiting and wondering. Now, if you find this video helpful, I've made a free 1-page guide with the milestones and activities that we're going to discuss in this video. It's something you can keep on your phone, so it's easy to check day to day. You can grab it from the link below.
This is good. This is like really good.
So what's considered normal at age 2? Well, to give you context, let's start a little bit earlier, around about 18 months, so 1.5 years. Remember, these are general milestones. Every child develops at their own pace, and there's a wide range of what we consider to be normal. I'll break it down into 4 key areas: social communication, how your child connects and shares attention. 2, vocabulary and meaning, the words they understand and use. 3, word building and phrases, so how they start combining words. And 4, speech sounds, the sounds and patterns they can produce with their mouth. Social communication. So between 18 and 24 months, toddlers begin engaging in simple back and forth interactions and use more gestures like pointing or shaking their head no, which is something I'm sure you're quite familiar with. They also start to enjoy pretend play. Early imitative play, like holding a toy phone and saying hello, emerges at around about the first birthday, so approximately 12 months. By about 18 months, symbolic play develops. Symbolic play is using one object to represent another, like a cardboard box as a house or using a TV remote as a phone. These pretend play skills build imagination, problem solving, and vocabulary, and they set the stage for later skills like flexible thinking, storytelling, and even early reading comprehension once preschool starts. Another positive sign is when toddlers initiate communication with familiar people. So they might bring you a toy, they might point to something to share attention with you, or they might tug on your sleeve to get your attention. Also, gestures are stepping stones to speech and language development. Research shows toddlers who use more gestures at 18 months tend to have larger vocabularies by age 2. So if your child is pointing to the sippy cup or they're pointing to the dog, that's actually a really good sign. They're showing a desire to connect via language. Vocabulary and early phrases. At 18 months, most toddlers can say roughly about 5 to 20 words and understand around 50 words. Pronunciation, so how they specifically say speech sounds, is often inconsistent. For example, nana will be used instead of banana, or dog for dog is totally normal. By about 24 months, the classic benchmark for your child is they should be using about 50 more words and understanding roughly 200 to 300 words. At 2 years old, children should also be experimenting with 2-word combinations like more juice, mummy go, push car, or puppy no, things like that. The key at this stage of development is wanting to see steady growth, not hitting an exact number. If your child is pointing, babbling, or using gestures, even if speech is still a little bit limited, they may still be on track. Speech sounds. At around 2 years old, sound production and articulation, so how your child produces speech sounds, is still emerging. So common early speech sounds include p, b, m, t, d, n, and we call many of these plosives or nasals. Typical sound shapes at this age grow from simple consonant vowel patterns, so sounds like ba, ma, da, to consonant vowel consonant patterns like dog, cat, mum. Toddlers are usually understood by unfamiliar listeners about 50% of the time, which is perfectly normal. At this stage of development, therapists focus more on language growth and social communication than perfect articulation. When to seek support. Consider reaching out to a speech and language therapist if you notice. Number 1, no words by 18 months. At 18 months, we want your child to at least have a handful of words. Mama, ball, up, go. Words like that should be present. Sometimes it's just late blooming, but it can also signal hearing issues or a language delay. Early intervention consistently leads to better outcomes. Number 2, limited vocabulary growth. By 2 years, most children are using around about 50 words. If they still say only a few words or aren't adding new ones, it's worth a professional look. Number 3, few gestures or pointing. Gestures like pointing, waving, reaching are the building blocks of language. If your child mainly cries or pulls your hand without showing or pointing, probably get that checked. And number 4, limited play or social engagement. So that pretend play we talked about, so like feeding a doll or pretending to drive a toy car, supports imagination and vocabulary. A lack of interest in play or social interaction is a sign to explore further. Number 5, not combining words by 24 months. After about 50 words, toddlers usually start forming short phrases, like we talked about: more juice, daddy go, mummy go, mum no, which is probably what you've heard 1,000 times. Having the words but not combining them may indicate they need extra support. Okay, so that's a snapshot of what's typical and when it might be time to check in with a speech therapist. But what about right now? The everyday things you can start doing at home to give your child's language a boost. So let's shift gears and talk about 3 research-backed strategies that make a real difference. So I'm going to start with one of my favorites. Strategy number 1 is shared reading. One of the strongest predictors of language growth is shared book reading. Reading with your child, not just to them. Large studies show toddlers read to daily develop significantly larger vocabulary. But the secret isn't just reading the words, it's making it interactive. Use something called parent tease. So that's when you vary your pitch, you might whisper, you might shout playfully, you add character voices, you stretch out keywords, and you pause for suspense. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh gosh, I hate acting. I'm not that type of person. I'm not really into acting. Okay, it's okay. This isn't the Oscars. I'm not asking you to be Daniel Day-Lewis.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
Research shows that this sing-song style or expressive style helps toddlers tune into the rhythm of language and keeps them engaged. Another reading strategy is print referencing. This is where you point to pictures and the actual print as you read, and you pause for your child to respond. Even though they can't read yet, studies show that tracking words with your fingers, highlighting first letters, and even stretching sounds out, for example, those funny noises characters make in the books where they have like the text that shows what the sounds are that they're saying. This lays the groundwork for early literacy skills, such as left to right print direction, recognizing letter shapes, and connecting sounds to letters when they start reading at school. Strategy number 2, social interaction. Children don't learn language in a vacuum, they learn it in relationships. So at this age, their key relationships are with you, with your family, siblings, and potentially their peers at daycare. Rich back and forth interactions build stronger vocabulary and communication skills. So here are a couple of practical ideas. Join a playgroup or library story time. Your local library almost always runs early language sessions. I can guarantee you that. So have a look at your local library. Encourage simple turn-taking games at home. So my turn, your turn, that kind of thing. Best activities, bubbles, you knew I was going to say that. Rolling a ball, even passing food at dinner, or even passing the ball with the dog. And another strategy is narrating everyday activities and pausing for your child to respond. Brain imaging shows that during face-to-face play, toddlers' language areas literally light up, and these brain patterns predict stronger language outcome years later. Strategy number 3, functional play and verbal routines. Use predictable daily routines with simple phrases like ready, set, go, that kind of thing. All done, time to wash hands, things like that. Very simple routine phrases you can use every day. Research shows children who regularly hear and join in with these patterns increase their mean length of utterance, which is a nerdy way of saying the number of words they can combine. Because the script is familiar and it's easier to imitate. Functional words such as help, more, open, they give toddlers power to communicate, reducing frustration and motivating them to talk a bit more. So to recap, shared reading, social interaction, and verbal routines are three of the most simplest, effective ways to boost your toddler's speech and language skills right now. If this video helped you, hit subscribe for more evidence-based tips. And if you want a cheat sheet of all the milestones and activities we've covered today, something you can keep on your phone or print it or stick it on your fridge, grab it from the link down below. Until next time, keep talking, keep playing, and enjoy every conversation with your child, and I will see you soon.